Well, hello and welcome everyone. This is Laura Rubenstein, your founder of Transform Today and the Social Buzz Club. And today I'm here with a very special guest, Matthew Holden. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Laura. Good morning and welcome wherever you may be.
Yeah. So I am very curious about what you started, who you are, and why you started. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background first, and then we can get into what you're doing.
Okay, sure. I'm formerly a senior executive at a company called Oracle Corporation and also was at SAP for many years. And I also have had quite an extensive involvement in the media industry. And ever since when that very first iPod came out, I saw that there was an opportunity to be able to get information and communication to individuals. And also with a solid marketing background, a few years ago I saw with social media literally exploding and changing quarter to quarter, I thought there's an opportunity here to be able to combine not only my marketing background but my information technology background to create a product to help businesses improve and enhance their social media efforts.
And is that how MavSocial was born?
MavSocial really started, as a matter of fact, as a video publication platform. But despite the industry discussions, my experience has been that brands are not embracing the ability to have video and mobile applications that are branded to themselves just yet. This is 2 years old now, and about 2 years ago the take-up was very low. I think it's increasing. I think 2015 is going to be even more of a significant increase, but obviously when you're running a business you have to be pragmatic and being able to create products and so forth. So that's when MavSocial was had a slight change in the fact that we offered more what customers want, which is the ability to combine imagery, control their digital assets, video being one of them and audio being another, but to combine that with their social media management and publication capabilities. So that's essentially how MavSocial was born, and for the last 12, 18 months it's had a very clear focus on what its delivery point is. We've been adapting to what's happening in the market, and now in the second half of this year, being 2014, we're now in a place of being able to take the product forward and getting quite good response so far.
So, in one quick sentence, how would you say, what is MavSocial?
MavSocial is a social media digital asset management and publishing platform.
That's pretty unique for the world of social media management tools, wouldn't you think?
You're absolutely right, Laura. I wake up every morning and saying, what do I miss? Who else is doing this type of a platform? And to date, we've not really found anybody who does identically the same business as ourselves. We have, in the social publishing side, a very crowded market. And you've got the major dominant player, which I would suggest would be Hootsuite, and then there's Sprout Social, and then there's Sprinkler, and then there's Salesforce, and there's a whole range of them. And we've given up counting well over 100 people in that very competitive and crowded publishing component. However, MavSocial does have a publishing capability. But one of the things that we brought to the market is not just being able to publish to Facebook and Twitter. We publish to about 13 different networks. And that's not just what we call Western networks. We can also help our customers publish into mainland China, to Japan, Vietnam. We're bringing Russia on board because social media is a global audience, and some brands and some users want to have that capability of not only publishing in the North American market, but, for example, in Latin America, where they want their posts to be in Spanish. So we have that ability of being able to do that with the publishing side. But the uniqueness is also the ability to combine the social media digital asset management system. And we've built a very simple, very easy to use, single repository where all of your digital assets can be stored and then repurposed and reused multiple times across all your posting capability.
Now that's a very unique quality that I see. I've never seen such a thing out there. Really great for teams and being able to have a place that you can keep track of what's going on with your visual content on the social networks. So,
It,
yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Laura. I mean, I love to hear people tell me that. I always welcome all feedback of positive and negative because we are wanting to create the best in breed. We want to make the MavSocial to be that exact niche that we're looking to fill because it's a problem. And your visual management of content is really key, especially with the changes that'll happen every quarter to Facebook and to Twitter and all of these types of networks. You need to be able to take that headache away, and that's one of the things that we attempt to solve.
Say more about the headache you resolve for organizations.
Within 3 clicks, I can publish to 5 networks in the configuration of our platform. Whereas the individual user, if you want to publish to Facebook, you've got to log into Facebook. Bring all your content together, make sure it's right, and then publish it. And if you know how to schedule, then you can schedule as well. Then you have to go to Twitter. Then you'll have to go to Tumblr. Within MavSocial, all of those networks are brought into MavSocial platforms so that I always have the view of create once, publish many. So you create your master post within MavSocial, and if you're comfortable with that, you can literally just with one button publish to all of your networks at the same time. So it's a create, publish, set and forget to many networks. So that's a significant time saver, especially for our target market. We work with the small to medium-sized businesses who staff, I hear this, and I'm sure you do as well, with your new ebook, that people do not have the ability to be able to do more with less and still get a positive return on their investment. So the MavSocial tool, which we have a range of subscriptions available, the MavSocial tool helps people to be able to save time, and that's one of my single biggest drivers to be able to show to our clients as well.
What do you think that MavSocial does better than other social media management tools? Is it that time management? Is it the content management? Is it the image management? And what are those problems you're solving that it does better than the other management tools?
That's a really good question. I'm seeing within the market a real shifting that's happened within, if I could use the word, the publishing world. There's definitely with almost $400 million US dollars of acquisitions happening and mergers monthly, there is a significant shift happening in this dynamic sector. Some of the larger enterprises are moving from a particular market demographic going upscale to large enterprise. Some of the larger players are now just focusing on crisis management for the large Fortune 100 companies. So there's a definite shift, and I think users have just got to work out what's the best platform that's going to help me for my social media work for the next 12 months to be able to do more with less. It's all very well to look at features that might help me, but bringing things in, it's very similar to analytics. Google Analytics, you have to go and get your Google Analytics, and then you'll have to go to another network to get more analytics, and then you have to pull it all together. What we have the drive and the impetus and the motivation is to bring that all together to make things nice and easy for our users. And one of the things that you mentioned, well, why is it different? Just to give you one little example is reporting. And you'll notice I don't use the word analytics because analytics is tough work. It's a bit of a black art. You've really got to know what you're doing to make a full analytics platform work. Whereas our approach to market was, I want to give managers, CEOs, CMOs, social marketers, I want to give them up-to-date information by way of reporting. So out of the box, we have over 150 touch points of data that is automatically pulled from all of those publications, such as Facebook and Google and so forth, and we combine all that information together to give our clients just literally, I always say, I want to see it in a one-page report so that a user can download it, email it, share it with colleagues. And again, that's just one little example where You don't have to manually go to Facebook anymore and copy and paste into Excel the latest comments that we've just been doing. It's all created for you in the actual application. And so far, there's a couple of reports there. People have said that's fantastic. It's a godsend. It saved me so much time, and we find that encouraging.
That's great because I love the idea of a one-page report, simple, easy. Don't give me overwhelming
Absolutely.
amounts of data that I can't decipher and do things with. But I noticed there was the engagement. I think that's very valuable. What content is getting engaged on, and does it also do a timing thing, like when those
Yes.
posts? That's great.
It's one of the things, again, because it is visual management oriented as well. One of the things that we also do is we're going to tell users which are their best photos, which are their best videos that is getting the best traction, the best shareability, so that brands can then get information which is meaningful and insightful, so that they can then act accordingly in their future efforts. I've lost you.
When was MavSocial actually released and available for people to use?
We released about 18 months ago. We were in really a modest beta at that stage because it wasn't. I had a very simple philosophy, having come from information technology, which is you get it right the first time, and it's better than having ultra buggy type software. So we were fairly cautious before we really went out to market. And about 12 months ago, we started to actively get our product out into the marketplace, and it just never ceases to amaze me who the users are. And we have such a wide breadth and depth of users who I personally monitor who's coming on board to learn what they're doing, so I can get a bit of an insight. So for the past 12 months, we're now starting to ramp up, and part of that commitment to the product and to our customers, I took the extent of physically relocating myself from Australia to San Francisco, which is now where our head office is, so that we can get access to the market. We can work with our customers and understand them more, because it's difficult when you're doing it outside the United States. So that's one of the reasons why 12 months ago we made that commitment, which coincided really with MavSocial getting to the marketplace in a live and active sense.
So I'm guessing that this is not done. It's an ever-evolving product and a management tool. What are the things you're working on in development now that you can say?
Well, you are absolutely 100% right. There is no such thing as a finished software product. It doesn't exist. And a lot of people spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to have the perfect product before it's in the marketplace. So it is a constant journey, is what I call it. We do have some pretty exciting product release and product features happening for 2015, but I can tell you one, which is just about to be released, which we're pretty excited about, because with imaging, everything is about the content, and that's one of the things that we offer to our users. One of the features that we've been asked for, not only can you download and store your images in the digital library, you have the access now to being able to get access and license from third parties, well in excess of 70 million professional stock images, which you can then download and license. And some of those image licenses now will allow users to be able to reuse those images for blog posts, articles, outside of social media. So the platform is now becoming very much a centralized hub for all of the social media activities. But the one key feature, which I'll just share with you if I may, which will be coming out in a few weeks' time, is the ability, because you are connected into your social networks, you can now download all of the photos that you've been tagged in or that are associated to your accounts across Facebook, Twitter, and shortly some of the other networks. And I'm sure if you're a prolific poster, every day you're sending content out, where was that photo that we used, such and such? Now you have the ability through MavSocial, you'll be able to access your entire Facebook library, and if you want to, you can then download them into your local library for further repurposing, re-editing, reuse of being able to take that successful image, for argument's sake, into other networks or to be reused and repackaged. And that's a pretty exciting feature that we're bringing to the what we call our digital asset library.
So first of all, I'm doing the happy dance about being able to use the images on blog posts, because that is bringing the whole thing together.
It certainly does. Certainly does.
Now, the second question I have regarding being able to, you said download all the photos you've been tagging or using. So if somebody else posted an image and I shared it to my Facebook, will I be able to download their image?
Yes, that is correct. So what can happen is it's going to your network. If it's in your network, you will be able to download. I mean, you can download your thumbnails, your timeline photos, and of course your actual images as well. So they will be available, but you'll be able to see them visually in a really nice new graphically designed interface for photo imaging. Then you've got a couple of different view options, and if you want to, you can then download. And of course, within the photo library, we have an in-application photo editor. So at that stage, that's when you can start putting on some really cool effects to, again, get that image up there. Got to have good visual content is key to be able to take products forward.
So you're really cutting edge here on the visual content publishing platforms. I don't think there's anything out there like that. What do you think the future is for social management tools? Are you doing it, or is there something more?
Social management tools is a pretty broad area. Back many years ago, when there was a new evolution of product called CRM, or Customer Relationship Management, which was a broad definition of a range of suites of various bespoke or specific areas of products. And CRM extended into all elements of the business, from shipping and transportation to customer management to marketing, which is where my expertise comes from, to client care, case studies, customer support, and a whole range of activities under the generic term of CRM. From my experience, I'm saying that that's what's going to happen with social media management tools as well. And we are probably one of the best examples of showing that, where we have discrete areas of our business. We've all started, like we just mentioned earlier, we've all started with a publishing platform. And we are obviously enhancing, as is everybody else, the ability to enhance their posting to Facebook. We're obviously looking at also China and other networks as well, but that's in the publishing area. The untapped area, and we believe that we're probably the leader in this field now in the social space, is the ability to have that internal social media content management system. And I look at that being able to have photos, assets such as images and logos and approved logos, so everybody's reading from the same page and getting consistency in social. Videos, audio files to be published to podcast channels and so forth. So we see the library side of things. I see a lot more in-depth analytics happening as well. We have some pretty exciting areas to extend not just to social, which is the bridge between hybrid technologies such as the wearable glass market of user-generated content and a whole range of other unique and very new technologies, and an extension to the publishing. I would also probably say that we're going to start to see the ability to integrate closer to faster blogging and communication with integration to social. I think is probably one of the emerging trends for 2015, outside of what we really see as one of our core offerings, outside of what we're saying, which is the content visual management and engagement.
How does mobile fit into your platform, either now or what you would like to do in the future?
I see mobile as being, there's a couple of areas with mobile, both from the consumption perspective. I think a lot of software vendors, certainly in our industry, need to do a lot better job in being able to make their product truly mobile compatible and more compelling for the end user. And of course the customers who actually want to publish through mobile. Our application, and I'm unabashed to say we are not a mobile platform at this stage, rather than saying it can do it and it doesn't, coming back to my earlier comment, I'd rather do it right. And mobile does have its own design challenges, which we are now putting resources behind. I don't think a lot of people are doing it well. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. Consumers want it on mobile. There's no question about that. And I think the industry, my peers, need to respond faster and more efficiently to be able to allow users to be able to have it on a mobile device and interact via mobile much more than what they're doing at the present time.
So I get that your system isn't on mobile, but when somebody publishes to a Facebook or a Twitter, I could pick it.
Totally,
I could pick it up
yes.
on my mobile device. Yeah.
Absolutely right, without a doubt. The consumption through the networks is fine because the networks control the consumption there, and that's fine, provided our companies and vendors like ourselves create the products and the tagging, etc., so that Facebook can pick it up correctly. Then the end user experience will be fine. But that's what I was just saying, is that some of the software vendors such as ourselves are not doing as good enough a job, and that's one of the key areas of focus for ourselves. And to date, it's also showing that our attention to detail is actually helping us because we're getting it right. I can't hear you. I don't
Oh,
know if you can hear me. You're mute.
I can
Oh,
hear
now
you
you
now.
can.
Now, okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
sorry.
How'd you like listening to me?
I was trying to get that lip syncing going, but it was a little too fast for me. So if you can come back.
We have a little mute button here. It's full disclosure.
Ah, that's the one.
Yeah. So I didn't want the background noise impeding on you. But anyway, now that you can hear me, uh, I'm very curious about what your personal philosophy is on social media and business development and marketing, because I know you have a marketing background, so I'm kind of curious, how did you come to figure out this would be a really good avenue to go, and what is your philosophy of the two worlds merging social media and marketing?
Um, a great question. I think a lot of people say to me exactly the same issue, but not in a positive sense. It's like, you must be mad. What are you doing these types of things? But and to answer the question that you referred to there, I see it. I have always said it's one word. It's called opportunity. Not only for us as a business and for our employees and our stakeholders to build a successful business. Not only that, but I love to be able to help businesses share their stories, get reach out to totally new markets that they may have never heard of, to be able to share their advantages, their products, their stories, and to be able to have a tool in which to be able to economically to be able to do that, and that's reliable, and that's what we do with MavSocial. I see from a marketing area, and a lot of people say to me, I need to go social, I need to be on Facebook. But as and I'm sure a lot of other marketing professionals say, and I encourage people to say, well, let's look at what you're trying to achieve. It's a lot of work, it's very time consuming, and it's a commitment. It's not something you can do. It's a journey, as we were talking earlier. And when I talk to people, I always encourage people to think long and hard about what their strategy will be for social, whether it's going to be a very highly interactive, engaging, multi-post sequences per day, or whether it would be the more infrequent brand and awareness that may complement a blog marketing approach as well. I think it's appropriate for the business user to make the right decision based on the information that they have, the resources that they have, more importantly, and then where we step in, which is a tool set, to be able to then help bring all those disparate parts together in a far more effective and cost-effective manner for them.
So that's a great segue to my next question, which is, okay, so you have this great tool out there and you've figured out this strategy, but which business owners or businesses types do best with a MavSocial? What objectives should they have if they're going to use MavSocial?
Everybody's different. there's no one, and I've not actually come across, because I love talking to customers. I want to know what's happening in industry, because we've got the power to shape products to help clients move forward, and we're doing a very good job doing that. But you, as a business owner, you don't build something that you think is perfect. You try and get feedback from clients to improve our product, which we do. But if the client, we see the biggest user at the moment is any business that has a B2C type facing. So if you're a small business and you have consumers, that is by far picking up greater traction with our client base than a traditional B2B marketer. And the ratio would easily be 7-3. 70% of our users would have a business to consumer facing, and they are across a number of verticals such as retail, travel and tourism, food and beverage. We see a great upgrowth and a great uptick on that area as well. Consumer packaged goods, which is, but that's much larger brands because they're trying to control a particular brand portfolio. And across all of those 4 or 5 sectors, you're finding each of them have their own unique goal and objectives. A large major brand of a cosmetics company might only be interested in a brand positioning strategy of sharing information with no real desire of converting that strategy to a cash across the till type transaction, whereas a local retail shop or a small chain of pizza shops, for example, can embrace and integrate various competitions and sponsorships and ownership and an engagement with their community to be able to augment their other marketing efforts. So it really does come back to, and also comes back to that earlier question that you asked, it also comes back to what is the strategy that that particular owner is wanting to achieve. And once they decide that, putting those other component pieces together is a great way forward, and we would like to obviously, MavSocial would like to be a big part of their tactical engagement with their consumer base.
Is there a case study that you might have, an example of how you took one type of these businesses and watched how they progressed and some results they got by using the visual content manager, the team management of this, that you could share with us?
Yeah, we have one particular user who's interesting enough, and this is what I mentioned earlier, the diversity of customers, and I would not have picked this one at all, but he's in the recruitment business. Getting quite an interesting, unique platform, and he became a subscriber for us, and used it to be posting his positions and his posts across multiple networks that he was actually in, because he had multiple geographies. I would not have picked that one as being a potential user for us, but we kept in touch with him because it's a unique field. That's called the HR. So he was a business reaching out to his candidates, which is effectively his consumers, reaching out to his candidates to enhance at a much cheaper, much more efficient cost per acquisition for him, but also being able to extend and visualize job postings that he could previously not really do, because most of a job board mostly is title, description, requirements, all of fairly boring static detail. He was actually able to use MavSocial across his social channels to be able to associate a photo or an image to be able to graphically increase the pull, because we do know, and I'm sure your book and other evidence out in the market does significantly show that there is significant increase in attraction to a post and likability based on the image quality.
Absolutely. That would make a difference. So if you've got, yeah, I could see that totally. If you've got a posting, now you said reaching out to his market, but you can't directly post, message people within your application, can you?
Within MavSocial, you have the ability, we call it our social inbox. And one of the things about social inbox is that with all your posting activity, remember we talked about you publish to Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Facebook, you'll be able to get your comments, your likes, your interaction. But if you're on Twitter, you've got to be in Twitter to be able to do this. So one of the component parts of MavSocial is what I call the social inbox. And I
Love it.
created it to look like, literally like one of those things we all know about, which is our email system. And it comes in as an email in which you can then reply, comment, post, like if you want. But it's giving the tools available by that network available in the single central source. So yes, you can communicate with those candidates in that particular example. We have another property owner who's using the product because he can get repeat publishing of a particular property. Remember the days you'd look at a property and you'd see 30 or 40 photos? Well, now we can take those individual photos and keep the volume and the traffic going with different posting capability. And in that area, he can then start to communicate one-on-one with the people who are actually communicating with him through the social channels.
So, in what ways would you recommend using MavSocial to help a company grow its bottom line?
And I would probably say the best way for everybody, if they want to, if I could use the word grow their bottom line, which is one of the most important things they need to do, is to look at again, I come back to time and motion on the whole exercise. Brand equity has a very large part of any brand. It's very, very important. But I see that where MavSocial is coming in at the moment is the ability to proactively plan your campaigns so that you're not reacting and saying, what have we got to post today? It's due for a post. Let's get something out there. And you get a randomization of brand consistency. If you can forward post and have a forward meetings, which a lot of clients now do, we have a messaging function or a campaign calendar where you can see the campaign and you look as far as you want ahead to ensure that all of those posts, and we can dissect them by network, etc., but all of those posts are going to come back to a unified brand and communication message. So suddenly we're getting different members of the team can use the single tool, brand, social media marketers, maybe the sales team, more importantly we're finding the PR communications people, also getting involved through the platform to be able to use the single tool to all agree on what needs to be done, and then they can then schedule according to time and what's the best time of day for that geographic region, and then publish accordingly.
And everyone can see what the map is of the social campaign, right?
If they were to look at the social campaign, they can all see a ready results, insights is what we call them, but certainly it is a map. But the most important thing is it's giving them the disparate pieces of evidence or information that they can then say whether this has worked or we need to tune it or whatever it is before they start then heavily promoting a particular post or a particular marketing strategy or how it might fit into the bigger picture. It's a good tool, and certainly that feature is being very well received by brand marketers.
Sounds like it's both a planning tool and an implementation tool.
As we said earlier when we first started, one of the things in this industry is that MavSocial and most of the market have the ability to publish to certain networks. Where a lot of the tools in the market are lacking is components such as campaign management, the ability to get insightful reports, and of course the big one that we really bring to the market is the centralized source of content management. Campaign management, for example, Hootsuite's just only in the last few months have just made an acquisition for $35 million of a campaign planning company. And that's testament that the importance of campaign planning in social media, which we've already got, and of course naturally we're improving upon. But that's a testament to show that the consolidation and the requirements of all the platforms within this market sector are changing. We come there with a very unique proposition and quite a compelling product for certain market segments.
Terrific. So, what advice would you give someone searching for a social media management tool?
I would probably say it's a good question. I would say firstly they've got to look at how much money they want to invest, not just in a tool. It's the big picture they've got to be able to look at. Some people are still quite comfortable just going to Facebook and using a manual posting system. And that's great. That could work for them. They may not need to know any more information because they don't want to know that. But if brands are wanting to use social as part of their marketing strategy, then the first advice I would also say would be, as we discussed earlier, is to identify what your strategy is. What do you want to achieve? Not everybody has the resources and the capability to be able to build out, especially in our market sector, the SME type market. So anybody who's doing more than $1 million plus and they've got someone in the marketing area, not everybody can afford to dedicate and bring more staff on to help them in those areas. So the first piece of advice I would say is always work out what your objective is in the social space. What do we want to achieve? The second one is the resource constraint that is available to you. And then the third one is the tools that we need to put in place to reach our brand audience. And we believe that obviously in the third element there we have a very large value proposition for those clients because, as I've said, that we want to be able to make life easy for our customers to be able to use a centralized place. And I think that's one of, as the market evolves as well in 2015, there's going to be even more demand for centralized management and publishing because it's not only just to social media, it's to blog publishing, it's to audio podcast publishing, second screen publishing, and then of course to set-top box publishing. The demand is going to be there for centralized management and publishing capabilities. So you need to have a tool that will do what you're going to do today, but also can potentially grow with you tomorrow as well.
So are you alluding that that's where MavSocial is heading with the blog publishing and second screen, box top?
I would probably say watch this space. There's some exciting announcements happening for 2015 without a doubt. And I think you're going to be really quite happy, and so are a lot of other people in this space.
Well, I'm getting excited already, so I already like what I see, and it's neat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your team and anything you'd like to wrap up? And I'm not sure if you mentioned, I know you had this video publishing vision back then, but how did you get from video publishing to developing MavSocial and putting that team together?
Sure. Okay. Well, as they say, team is one of the most important components of our company, and we've got a great team. Our development and marketing strategy of the product, it was somewhat different. We haven't got a large development presence in the United States. We have a very extensive team based out of India and here in Hong Kong as well. Our team in the United States are marketing, sales driven to be able to work with clients in a pre-sales type component, which alludes back to what you were saying earlier as to, is this the best tool for us? So we're all based there in San Francisco. That's obviously my home as well because I'm one of the key drivers of this. We work with a lot of various agencies and customers and conferences and getting more and more active in the blogging community as well because I think sharing knowledge is one of the biggest things to be able to help businesses be able to, and again, my customers are businesses, but sharing knowledge is one of the best way of being able to help people make the right decisions. So we're based across the world, so we have a fairly geographic spread from India to Hong Kong to the United States. The second point that you referred to there, which relates to what else are we going to be doing with the platform, I think what we're looking for is, 2015 there'll be some consolidation. We are actively looking to see what companies might bolt onto successfully onto our business as well. We've just got to be dynamic, nimble, listen and see what's happening in the market, and we're anticipating some quite significant growth from where we have been, which was in the video, to where we are today. The video application was really literally the ability to upload one HD video format that could then be re-encoded into about 100 different formats for mobile consumption through an application. That feature is still within our platform, and what that means is if you have a high quality piece of content that you can then upload into MavSocial, MavSocial will ensure that the video then is pushed to a device and that you can view that video in the most optimal format and resolution for your device. So if we look at the iPhone 6 Plus versus the old traditional iPhone 4, there's a big, massive screen resolution size. There's a density of the screen size, and of course then you've got bandwidth considerations as well. That's how MavSocial started, but we moved and pivoted the product by enhancing features because the market is still not really there for advertised application consumption, because most people are now, you'll upload a high quality piece of content to MavSocial, but what you will do there, Laura, is you will then publish that to Facebook, and Facebook is the delivery mechanism. So that's one of the reasons why we made the pivot. We still got the original core functionality. It's there available for customers today. It's just that the take-up is not as high as what other networks can now offer to the consumers.
I really think you're onto something. I read some of the trends that different people are talking about for 2015, and video advertising, I think, is a huge up-and-coming trend. So if you have the formats that's ready for any kind of device, that's fabulous.
I would say the video market who have been going through, and anybody listening today, but anybody who's in the video production and creation area, you can be really busy if you're really good at your job next year. The reason is that it's a challenge, and anybody who thinks video production is easy, it's not. But once you get that into a platform, then we take a lot of heavy lifting off the distribution piece of creating good. It's all about creating good content. I mean, that really is the core of, and the message that you position across to your users and viewers and readers. It's the same everywhere. Getting good, compelling content is one of the key articles and the key approaches that you must take in social to really be able to get ahead.
Oh, and by the way, if you need to add to your list of things to features, if you're going to stick with the video, what I would love is a built-in video editor as well.
Stay tuned for 2015, Laura.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make you a very happy woman. You stay tuned.
Woohoo! Okay, can't wait. Thank you so much, Matthew, for this interview and the insights. Is there anything else you wanted to leave our listeners with?
No, I think thanks very much for the opportunity to talk with you and to share as well. I think I hope that I've been able to contribute in some small way in what we're doing, obviously with the MavSocial team, but to be able to help contribute to enable marketers to get better and do more with less. I hope I've been able to help and give you a little bit more guidance from my perspective.
Yeah, very helpful, interesting strategies. Thank you for the stories and for the food for thought on how to manage social media from a visual content standpoint. So we'll be back again with another interview in the near future. And this is Laura Rubenstein here with Matthew Holden of MavSocial. Bye for now.